part 4 of this video tutorial. Good day guys, welcome to part 5 of GIS assignment 6 video tutorial. So basically I'm going to take you through the last part of the assignment, which is going to focus on map visualization and map cartography, just making sure everything is in place and order. So this will be quite an extended session because it does take a bit of time. However, in the first maybe 20 minutes or so, I'm just going to take you through the basic things that you guys must complete. Then maybe the next 10 minutes I'm going to take you through guys a few maybe advanced features that you can maybe add just to improve your contrast and your visualization as well. So basically this part of the assignment you're going to be dealing on showing creating a high quality map of the Pietermaritzburg land uses. So the first point of order, let's switch off our PNB buildings because as just stated it's slowing down our computer, and let's actually first rename our layer, which will help us just at a later stage, especially when we do our legend, because usually what happens, people lost quite a few marks when leaving underscores. So just double click on the layer and come to general and just rename the layer. So for example, let's rename it let's rename it Pietermaritzburg spelling land uses. Yeah, you can put that in caps lock if you put it, or you can just capitalize each word. So just make sure the spelling is correct. Mine is correct. Just make sure it's correct so you don't lose marks on that. Click OK, and then we have that done. So let's actually start configuring our actual layout view, our map view, so that everything, when you actually print it out, we know that it comes out in a certain way that we wanted it. So currently now it's in portrait, but let's actually make it landscape, judging by the extent of the actual layer of the Pietermaritzburg. So to change it to landscape, come to file, come to page and print setup. If you're going to print in A3, choose A3 and change it to landscape. Click OK, and as you can see, the landscape. You'll notice that it does take a bit of time to load because of the actual Pietermaritzburg land uses. So let's actually just switch that off for now, and let's actually just make sure we extend our actual map view here. So this is actual data view. So I'm going to leave this empty for now because as you can see it's in the middle. I'll come to it at a later stage, but let's start with the actual map elements such as the north arrow, your map title, your legend, your scale bar, and actually where it should be located. So just switch off that so your computer is a bit fast, then we'll add everything at a later stage. So let's start by adding our title, which is, make sure this can, so usually I've noticed that when you guys add your title, you usually come to insert and you click on text. So however, there are a few limitations in terms of the color that you can use in the background. So what I do when inserting a text, I actually use the actual drawing text. So mine's already hugged onto my toolbar, so I'll just close it to show you how you can just bring it out. Let me just close it. So to bring out your drawing toolbar, come to Windows, or actually come to Customize, come to Toolbars and click on Draw, and as you can see it will appear, and I'll just drag mine onto the top of my toolbar so it hugs that. And then under my draw, I'm going to come onto this A sign called text. I'm going to drop it down. I'm going to come to rectangle text. So as you can see, it comes to the plus side, means it's ready to be drawn. So you can just drag that out. Then I'm going to double click on my text. I'm going to come to the text there, and I'm going to change it to make sure I put an appropriate title that adequately explains the map. So let's say map of, let me put in caps actually, of Pietermaritzburg land uses. Just make sure spelling, if my spelling is incorrect, my apologies, just make sure that your spelling is correct so you don't lose any marks on that. So I want to change now my symbol size because as you can see it's only 10, so it's quite small. So come and change symbol. Just give it a bit of time because it does take time for the change symbol to load up. Let's actually make the size 25. I'm going to make mine bold and click OK. I'm going to actually center it. I'm going to click apply, And as you can see, the actual size is quite adequate enough. It's not too big, at the same time it's also not too small. It's not oversized, to be more accurate. So you can click OK, and then it's gonna drop it down here. Let's maybe resize it. So the advantage of actually using the draw rectangular text is I can actually have more leeway in terms of changing the background color. So when I come to frame, I can actually change my border size to 1.5. I can actually make my background sand, and yeah. So one thing that you guys must also consider is that if you're going to use, let's say, like a sand background, a yellow background for your title, make sure that you use that same color for all your, like for example, for the background color of your legend, the background color of your scale bar, and the background color of your north arrow. Because I saw some of you guys will use yellow for your north arrow, then green for your background for your title, and then you have quite a mixture of colors. Looks like a bit of a rainbow, but when I keep it nice and professional, nice and simple as well. So another trick, let's say if you guys are tired of, for example, of these, for example, square boundaries, you can actually make them round. So when you want to make them round, double click on it and come to where it says round, and you can make that, let's make it 10 for our border, and let's make it also 10 there, and let's click on apply. Okay, I can't see it now. Then as you can see, it has made it slightly round, so it's a bit of a softer edge. If you want, you can actually make it more. For example, if I make it 15, apply, click OK. And as you can see, maybe it's not yet fully seen, but if I click on 20, maybe that would be more distinct. Alright, okay. And as you can see, yeah, it's got a bit of more of a round border to it, so a bit of a softer edge. So if you guys want to try something different, you can actually make your actual boundary round. And as you can see, with the advantage of using a draw, I can actually change the color of the background to whatever color I want compared to inserting the text. So now, one of the elements of Mac cartography is you have to make sure that your title is centralized with the actual map frame. So to do that, let me switch off my caps lock. Click on the actual title, hold down Shift, now click on your actual data frame, and as you can see, it will highlight the actual object that will be moved and the actual data frame will be aligned to. So hold off Shift, right click, come to align, and align center, and as you can see, it's been aligned right to the center of the actual map frame. So I'll remove that, I'll click on that, and I'll just move it a bit to the top so it's right there on top. Now let me insert my north arrow. So just make sure you choose the appropriate north arrow, click OK. As you can see, that's the bottom. Let me just make it a bit bigger. Don't make your north arrow quite oversized. I noticed a lot of you guys made your north arrow quite oversized, so it looked a bit cartoonish. So just make sure you keep it an adequate size so it doesn't detract from the main subject. So let's actually change that. Let's make it 1.5 background. I want to keep it common for the sand, and then once again with the actual round, I can actually make it 20 and 20. Click OK, and as you can see, it has made the boundary round. But what you notice that is that you're on your north, on your actual compass signs, you actually see that the actual border is overlapping on the actual letters. So we actually want to create a bit of a gap. So let's actually double click on it. Come to border, and where it says gap, let's add 10 on our x-axis, add 10 on the y-axis. Let's do the same on our background, 10 and 10. And what's that going to do? If I click apply, it's actually offset it a bit, so it just gives a bit more space to the actual north arrow, so everything's nice and clear. Then we can click OK, and as you can see, that has appeared nicely. So now I actually want these two to be aligned at the top, So I'll click on my north arrow, hold down shift, click down on my Peter Maritzburg title, hold off shift, right click, come to align, and let's say align at the top. So as you can see, the green will actually be aligned to the actual blue. So I'm going to click on that, and then I'm going to click on my left arrow key on my keyboard. It will still be aligned to the top, but I just want this to be a bit to the left. So yeah, so now with that done, as you can see, it's aligned to the top, and it's to the far left quadrant of your map. So now let's insert our scale bar. So let's go scale bar. As you know, scale bar comes bottom left. Don't forget your north arrow is top left. So scale bar, choose that. Then before I include it, I'm going to come to properties. So one of the common mistakes in the previous assignments is that in the division units, people sometimes kept it to miles. Make sure you choose either kilometers or meters. So because of the extent of the map, I'm going to choose kilometers. And make sure that you correct the spelling. So instead of the American spelling, you use the British spelling. FRES. And click OK. And click OK. And as you can see, it's applied at the bottom. So let me double click that. Let me add once again the common color, the common border of 1.5. I'm going to keep it at sand. Rounding again, I'll make it 20. So everything is nice and neat. Then once again, with our gap, I'll actually add 10. So just to make sure that the border doesn't intrude on the actual scale features or the scale units. So I'll just add 10 just to keep a bit of consistency there. Click OK. And if I zoom in, it's nicely spaced out and so on. So now let's actually align our scale bar to our north arrow, which is on the left. So don't forget that your scale bar must be bottom left. So let's click on our north arrow, hold on shift. So actually it's my actual scale bar, so let's make sure you click on your scale bar first, hold on shift, and hold on my north arrow, right click, line, and right click left. Then as you can see, the green will be aligned to the blue. Then I'll click on the blank space, and I'll click again on my scale bar. Then I'll press down on my down arrow key just to make sure it's nicely at the bottom there. So now with that particularly done, now we can move on to inserting our legend. So I'm going to switch on my layer. So yeah, before we actually, okay, let's actually insert the legend. Then I'll show you how to make your visualization a bit more clear. So let's actually go to insert. Let's come to legend. Then as you can see, it doesn't have any underscores because we fixed it in our layout table of content, so the underscores won't appear on your legend. So that's one way of fixing it. So click on next. So it does take a bit of time. There's quite a few number of contents or subclasses under your legend. Let me make it justified. Next. Then I'm going to keep the common theme. My border size 1.5. My background sand. Okay, we'll come to gap and rounding a bit later. Let's click on next, next, finish. Alright, and that is there. Let me just double click on it, and yeah, let's come to our frame. We'll keep our rounding to 20%. And as you can see, the gap area has the gap of 10, 10, 10, which is automatically added. You can click OK, and then now let me just resize it a bit because it's quite a bit large. So now I want to make sure it's bottom left, more bottom right, sorry. And I want to make sure it's actually bottom aligned to actual scale bar. So make sure to click on your legend, hold down shift, then click on your scale bar, right click, come to line, then bottom. Then as you can see, align to the bottom, then click on the blank space. Again, I'll click on my legend. I'll just push it a bit to the far left, so there's good spacing involved. So Now let's work on our actual visualization for our land uses. So what I'm going to do, because it's actually there, so it's quite a bit far, let me zoom in. So to come in, click on your fixed zoom in tool, click again until it's let's zoom in a bit more again, just so we can see everything. So I think, let me just wait for it to draw all the land uses. So this does, it is quite intensive on the computer. So let me just zoom in a bit. So one thing that you'll notice is that you have your land uses, but it's covered in this gray color, which is actually the outline. The outline is quite thick, so I actually want to remove this outline so it's a bit more visually appealing. So on your layer table of contents, double click on your layer, Peter Maritzburg lesson, your land uses, come to Symbiology, and on heading, double click on heading. And what actually heading does, it's actually like almost like a bulk, which will actually change the whole land use colors. Well, not land use colors, but actual certain elements. So if, for example, like the outline color, we can click on no color, click OK, click OK. And as you see, it becomes a bit more appealing. Everything is a bit more distinctive, but it's not yet how would you say, perfect in a sense. We are lacking a bit of contrast in a sense, but just make sure you change each individual color, such as the land use, to their respective colors that it would be in a general land use scheme. For example, commercial would always be something like, I think it's red or pink. So just make sure you just change the respective colors. Like residential would be yellow. So just make sure that you choose an outline color, no color, click OK. So yeah, so just make sure in your time, just change all the colors to the respective colors that you find in a general land use document and so on. So now let me just zoom out a bit. Then, as you can see, we have actually completed maybe about 80%. So we have everything in the right places. Our north arrow is top left, our scale bar is bottom left, our legend is bottom right, and our Peter Maritzburg is centralized right at the top, aligned with our north arrow. So now the last thing that you need to do, basically when completing the map, is you need to insert your base map. So when you're inserting your base map, come under selection, but under this plus sign, drop it down, click on add base map, and then there are quite a few base maps that you can choose from. So I'm not going to use these ones, because whenever I use them it freezes my computer. So I'm just going to use one. I'm going to use an online one from ArcGIS Online. In ArcGIS Online you can actually find data sets that you want, for instance cadastral parcels for South Africa, vector data, maybe grid maps, quite a long thing. Also data on actual aspects in terms of optimal angle to the sun. So in your spare time, explore ArcGIS Online, see what data sets that you can use in your general, if it's workplace or whatever that you're doing. So I'm going to look for a base map. I'm going to actually look for a general base map. So I actually have quite a few base map here. World Street base map, or light gray. I'm going to look for a universal base map. There's a world imagery one. Let's see what base map I can use here. There's a world topo base map. So this base map is good. It's like, let's say if you want to make your map a bit 3D or so on, you can actually add that. But I'm just going to look for a general base map. So there's a world imagery one, but this one is quite 3 to 5 years. I can't see. So I actually use this one, because this one seems to be quite the latest. And I'll say add, and then obviously it will take a bit of time because it is sourcing the base map from the internet. So you just got to be patient while the base map is added. So as you can see, mine appears right at the top. So obviously it's covered everything because it's at the top, but I'm going to drag it to the bottom. I'll just wait for my thing to come back. Oh, my network analysis has come on. Just close that. Let's drag it right to the bottom. Okay, and as you can see, your world imagery will be right at the bottom. So now, in essentially, you could say the map is done 80%, but visually, yeah, it's good, but you want to add a bit more. It still looks a bit cartoonish with the contrast and so on, especially for this open space, this blue open space. Let's say if I make it a different color, double click on open space. Let's see if I make it green. Let's see how it comes out. So obviously visualization, you just have to play around with it for a few colors and so on. So you just have to play around with it, see what appeals more. If you want, switch the actual let's actually play with the what's this, the transparency. Let's see, let's make it 40. That's how it comes out with. So visualization, it all depends on you, how you want it to be. You can play around with it, but yeah. So as you can see, if I make it 40%, yeah, it becomes a bit more of an easy read, which is, yeah, a bit more of an easy watch. If I make it 40%, the colors are not too punchy. It's a bit more easier to read into it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click. Ooh, that was not supposed to happen. I still had my pan sign on. So let me just switch off my world imagery layer, because that does also take a bit of some juice from the computer. So just move it centralized. Wait for it. So obviously make sure you add your base map last, because it does take a bit of juice from your computer to process it. Let me just recenter that again, and then let me just zoom out a bit, because it seems a bit too zoomed in. Let me just wait for it to a bit. Let me just zoom out. So essentially, like we've done basically the first part, yeah, of the visualization. So basically, like around this part, you'll be completely done with your assignment. If you're happy with how it is, you can export it, and yeah, you can export it and you can submit that. But then, let's say if you want to push the bounds of cartography, if you want to add maybe a few more features, I'm going to show you just a few more tricks that you can use that can help. So we'll just put that there. And then I'll switch on our image base map. I'm waiting for that to load. And then yeah. So let me just actually fix the rounding on my actual legend, because you can see the corners are still sticking out. So let me just click back to my normal arrow here. So as you can see, the base map, yeah, it is. You just have to be patient. Especially with the actual land use as well, which is quite heavy. As you can see, I forgot to put my rounding there as well. That's why it's sticking out. Click on OK. And yeah. So essentially, at this stage, your map should be done. You can export it, and yeah, you should get the marks. So now, if let's say you want to add a bit of some flair to the map, a bit of some extra vibrance to it. You'll notice in most GIS maps they have like a locality, or they have additional maps on the side supporting the main map. As you know, when you're doing the actual processes before. We actually did an industrial community education building map, layers tab. So if you want, you can actually add that, just to add a bit of some extra flair to our map. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually switch off my world imagery and my land use map, because those are significantly slowing down my computer. Then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to drag this across here, where I'm going to actually add my supporting maps on the side here. So let me just move my legend there. As you see, my legend will disappear. Then let me just recenter my that was not supposed to happen. Let me just press Ctrl Z and actually do it this way instead. Just move it manually there. And then what I'm going to do is actually going to insert a new data frame. So I'm just going to minimize this, minimize that, minimize this, minimize this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually insert a new map here. And to do that, you come to insert and data frame. And as you can see, it's actually inserted an extra data frame map that you can actually use and put maybe an extra map layer there if you want. So for example, I'll just show you just a quick one. Let's say for example you want to add your industrial community buildings extra map there. So I'll click on that and I'll drag it down. So I'll drag it down to menu data frame, and I'll just change just make sure I remove the underscores. Click OK. And then what's this one? Yeah, so that's on my table, so I can actually change that. Oh, click OK. Then as you can see, let me actually also, what else can I add there as well? Let me actually make a duplicate of my Peter Maritzburg land uses. So I'll say I'll right click, copy, and I'll click on my data frame. I'll come to the blank space, I'll right click, and I'll say paste. And then what I'm gonna do, this one I'm just gonna keep it common color here. So just a general feature. So just make it any color, yellow, whatever, whichever color that you want. Click OK, click OK, and just switch that on. Then as you can see, if I zoom in a bit further, we actually have a second map being added there, which is showing our industrial community and education buildings. So what I'll do, I'll just zoom slightly out. I might have to do a medium zoom. So I'll just zoom out again. And then what I'll do is I'll centralize it there. Okay, once that is centralize it there, then I'll come back to my arrow, and then what I'm going to do now is, seems like my buildings has, now it seems like my industrial community buildings have disappeared. Okay, now it's back there. So obviously this will take a bit of time. It does take a bit of trial and error just to get the hang of it. Okay, just centralize that a little bit, and then come back to my arrow. Let's also, yeah. Then as you can see there, we actually have a secondary map. that you want. And if you want, you can actually add a legend underneath it if you want to go about it that way, because I'm only going to be marking on the alignment in terms of the main map. So in terms of, let's say, if you want to add legend for this one, it doesn't have to be aligned specifically to like your bottom right and so on. So you can actually add more maps if you want. There you can actually add maybe a locality map if you want to do where it's actually located, in instance to for example the extent of South Africa, which province. You can actually add an extra map. You can actually add an extra map if you want. So what I'm going to do, switch on my Pietermaritzburg world imagery. Then I'm going to make another copy of that. I'm going to make a copy of maximal world imagery 1. Click on my new data frame. So let me just wait for that to load. So as you know, this is if you want to go that extra mile. It would demand a bit more from your computer. So let me just put that at the bottom. Then as you can see, it actually added an extra base map to my actual secondary map. So if you want, you can add you can add multiple maps that you want. So that's if you want to go that extra mile. Just add some supporting maps and so on. So I'm gonna finish this off because it will take a bit of some time to finish off, and then once I'm done with it, I'll share it within the group to show you how it comes out. So yeah, so that actually concludes the last part of the assignment in terms of visualization. Just make sure that all your map elements are in the correct places: legend bottom right, scale bar bottom left, north arrow top left, and make sure that they're properly aligned to the bottom left and as well as the right. So this concludes the last part of the assignment. So I'll just finish this off, and then I'll show you the final results in the final map form. Thank you. Welcome back, guys. After a couple of hours of editing, shifting, I finally completed the map. As you can see, I've got my main map supported by my two supporting maps. The one map showing the actual Pietermaritzburg industrial, community and education buildings, and also the second part just giving you a bit of a locality map of where the actual study area is located in the extent of South Africa. So as you can see from the data frames that I created, I actually have three data frames. This first one is for this first map. The second one is for the buildings map, those three buildings in question. And if I even drop down, you can actually see the layers there. And then the last one is a locality map. So I actually used the shape files from the first assignment for Prac SA Explorer. I used the actual province shape files for South Africa just to give a bit of locality. So basically you can create three maps in one data frame, and yeah, as you can see, that completes this part of the assignment. I actually exported in a JPEG, so after when you're done, export it in a JPEG, PDF, and come and actually review it just to see how it pops out, because the actual color mapping is actually different to on the actual PDF. The color mapping on the PDF or the JPEG is actually different to the actual color mapping on the actual data frame we're working on. So obviously let's review it, see everything is aligned. As you see, I experimented using the actual round boundaries instead of the square boundaries. If you want, you can just make them square, perfect squares. It's up to you. And then yeah, just see everything is aligned, particularly on this map. I'm not going to penalize you if things are not properly aligned on this map, but this map everything has to be properly aligned. Just make sure everything's properly aligned. I think you can just see maybe this map here, I could have just extended a bit down. But anyways, yeah, so this concludes this part of the assignment. Before I move on, there's one aspect that I forgot to show you on, and that's how to add the actual coordinate grids. I completely forgot to show you that. So just for you to add them, you come to your first layer or your data frame that you want to add them to. You right click on it, you come to properties, and then you come on. So I'll remove this one, that was my first one, so I'll remove that grid. So you just come to new grid. Obviously gradients divides map to medium, so you can choose between the first one and this one, but I usually prefer this one because it actually shows the actual latitude and longitude. So it actually shows the west as well as the north. So basically shows where the actual map is located, where the actual study area is located, if it's in the northern hemisphere or southern hemisphere, or if it's east or west. This is why I prefer to use the first one. Click on next. Obviously now in terms of the lines, so you actually edit the lines here on appearance by style. So if you want, you can go for normal straight line, or if you want, you can come with a dash line that I used. So I used the dash line. So I used that dash line, then I made it a very light gray. Clicked OK. Say next. So you click on next. Yeah, then next for finish. And then you can say OK. And then what will happen is that we'll actually draw those lines of latitude and longitude, but I can see the intervals are quite heavy, so yeah, the intervals are quite small. So to change the intervals, double click on, or right click, come to your properties, and double click on the actual grid. And actually on intervals here, this is where you can change it. So as you can see, the interval is there 0. That's why I've got so many lines. So let's make it 5 degrees or 5 minutes, as per se. You can click OK. You can click apply. You can click OK. Let's see how it comes out. So while waiting for that to export, yeah, so as you can see, the lines of latitude and longitude have been added to my map. So that's how you add the coordinate text marks, and you can click the marks for this. So just a reminder, these two maps, supporting maps, they're not an absolute requirement. If you can add them if you want to hunt for more marks on visualization and contrast, you can add them. You can use score more marks on those. But even if you just add this map and you make it look nice, play around with the good visualization with the land uses, you still get the marks for it. So, but if you really wanna score absolute marks, full house of marks, you can go ahead and add these extra supporting maps. So thank you very much, guys. This concludes assignment 6. Thank you very much.